Hello all, John here with some thoughts for the fifth Sunday of Easter. Welcome, thank you, and on a lot of words, just a few words, emotional wallop and poetry. Not long ago on Palm Sunday, we heard Luke's Passion reading, 113 verses, okay? On Good Friday, we heard John's Passion reading, 82 verses. Per the word count function on my laptop, that puts Luke at 2,222 words, quite a bit, and John's not far behind at 1,926 words. And I'm sure that both writers needed each one of those words to pack the emotional wallop they were after. In stark contrast, today's gospel, also from John, comes in at 5 verses, 4.5 actually, and a mere 91 words. Which is not to say that John doesn't pack emotional wallop in this passage as well. It's taken from Jesus' discourse to his friends at the Last Supper. He addresses the 11 right after Judas leaves to go do what Judas has to do. And with just a few words immediately before today's passage in the book, John writes of both the progression of the day and the darkness of the hour when he says, "And it was night." I love that line, always have. Speaks to me of poetry. More about that later. With Judas gone, Jesus now speaks to the 11, and he tells his friends, with great affinity, I think, given his word choice, he'll be leaving them soon. "My children," he says, "I'll be with you only a little while longer." He prefaces this, though, by talking about the glory that's in the offing. And it's in the offing only because the metaphorical wheels on the Calvary bus are already turning. Remember what Jesus says to Judas that night? What you're going to do quickly. And Judas does. "Now is the Son of Man glorified," Jesus tells the 11, "and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once." There's only 33 words here, but 5 of them have to do with glory. Jesus' transfiguration was a display of power, no question. His Jerusalem glorification is a display of power too. But unlike the transfiguration, this time it's brought about only by his condemnation and his death. Man, got paradox? And with the word count balance, Jesus then tells the 11 of a radical concept. We've all heard it before. "I give you a new commandment, love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another." While love of God and love of neighbor is nothing new, not a new concept, Jesus makes it new, I think, because by laying down his life for his friends and his enemies, really, he shows us how to die to ourselves in serving others. My more poetry tease was triggered by the last line of an old movie I saw on TV the other day. The line, in fact, inspired this whole, a lot of words, just a few words, reflection. The movie was called The Razor's Edge, RAZOR''S. I never heard of it, but here's a descriptor on channel 32.2. A World War I veteran postpones his wedding and moves to a monastery in the Himalayas in a quest for spiritual fulfillment as his fiancée marries another man. What a great storyline. I'd love to see the whole film, and I'm sure I will someday. And at the very end of the film, which is where I came in, when the male lead walks away and the lovelorn ex-fiancée asks another character, what is he trying to do with his life? The character answers, "Goodness is the greatest force in the world, and he's got it." Swell the music. Poetic, no? In today's gospel, in just a few words, Jesus tells us of the glorifying power of goodness. "As I have loved you," he says. Swell the music. To my ears anyway, it's emotional wallop and poetry all over again. Hey, thanks. Peace, John.